Now, I love fly patterns that you can use for multi-species, and I got one of those right now. Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Flies. I'm Matt, thank you for stopping by. Now the pattern I'm talking about today was created in the 1960s by Lloyd Silvius from Eureka, California. Now we haven't talked about Lloyd Silvius on this channel before, but I was able to dig up a little bit of history on him. So he was a baker in Eureka, California up through the 1930s. Then when World War II came, the Navy didn't have anywhere to build their floating dry docks, so they built a big factory on Humboldt Bay, brought in several thousand workers. The small little town there kind of boomed. Lloyd and his wife got a job there, working throughout the war. Then after the war, in 1946, the factory shut down and he opened up Silvius Tackle Shop. And then he got a reputation for being a very proficient steelhead fisherman and an expert fly tyer. And one of the patterns he came up with is the Brindle Bug. And I say this is a multi-species fly because I found it in John Shuey's Steelhead book, but I also found it in Raymond Scott Stetzer's Flies the Best 1000, and there it was listed as a standard wet fly. And it can be tied in multiple sizes, fish in any kind of water for really almost any species. So it's a pretty versatile fly, and it's been popular for at least the last 60 years. So I think you're gonna like this one. Let's give it a shot. So there's my hook in the vise. That's a number 6 salmon fly hook. You can tell it's got the bent over eye. We're gonna have to contend with that here in just a second. And I am stepping up my thread. This is a pretty big guy. I'm using a 140. So I'm gonna just try to capture that eye right there. Now I didn't want to put my thread on yet, but I kind of did. I meant to put weight on first, but that's okay. We can recover from that. We'll just put a base down right here and that'll help our weight stay. And I am using some thicker stuff. This is an 025, and I'm going to put it kind of right in the middle. I'm not putting it way up toward the front, maybe 6, 7, 8 wraps, but I'm putting it in the middle because I'm trying to create that kind of cigar-shaped, football-shaped body where it's going to be thinner at the back, thicker in the middle, and then thinner up front. So let's just go ahead and try to smooth this out right here. A few wraps over it, and then do the same thing up front. Would have been easier if I'd have put the weight on before the thread, but hey, you don't always get the steps right. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. Now let's take our thread back to the tail, and we're going to catch the tail in. And this guy, it's just brown hackle fibers, and I'm using this, a tough pulled out from the same that I'm going to use for the front hackle. And it's, it can be fairly long. It doesn't have to be huge, but I'm going to put it about a body length. Just catch this in right on top. A few extra wraps right there. Okay, I think that tail is going to be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave this, wrap it until I get back up to the weight, then trim it. Now, the brindle part of the Brindle Bug is this variegated chenille. So either a yellow and black or yellow and brown, just yellow and something dark is going to look good. And I went ahead and stripped off a little bit, maybe a 1/4 of an inch of it right there, just so I'm catching in the thread core is all. And I'll catch it in right on top, or maybe a little bit toward my side will be fine. Okay, now let's just take our thread back up here. We're gonna end the body, and let's wrap it up. Might want to fluff it up a little bit if it was laying flat on you. And let's see, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a little bit of a taper in the back, a little bit fatter up in the middle, and then a little taper up front. Tell you what, I'm not seeing much of a taper at all right there, but oh well. We tried, right? Gave it our best effort. All right, a couple wraps there is going to secure that. Now let's go ahead and snip this off. Sometimes you see a little fluff after you snip this. Not too bad. A couple extra wraps to secure that. Now let's tie in this hackle, the front hackle, and pretty long stuff. I want these fibers to stick way back, so I'm going to tie in just strung saddle hackle, kind of cheap stuff. and it's gonna be a collar hackle, so it's gonna go all the way around, and it's gonna be pretty long. So I need to spin that around so the concave side is toward the hook. Maybe it's coming off perpendicular right there. I think that's gonna be just fine. So bend that up tight right there. My feather is caught in probably 7 or 8 thread wraps right there. All right, now I've got a little nub. I'm gonna just bury that real quick before I wrap the hackle. Okay. Now, take as many wraps as you can get, whatever you think looks good. I think in this case, 4, maybe even 5 will look good. Don't worry that they're coming back. They're coming off perpendicular right now. We are gonna sweep them back in just a second. Okay, I wasn't really counting, but that was at least 4 wraps right there. And I think that's gonna be enough. So 2 wraps to secure that. And snip this off just right up there as close as you can get it. And these hooks are slipping in my vise. I guess I need to get a better bite in there. There we go. Sorry about that if I did not notice it for the last couple of minutes. Let's just pull these back and then build our head. And with lots of, steelhead flies, you can have a pretty big head. Don't be afraid to come back a good 1/4 of an inch right there. Okay, there we go. Actually, I would like them swept back a little bit more than that, but I think we're gonna be all right. I don't want to make that head any bigger than it is right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and whip finish it. Now, since this was a pretty quick tie, and I don't often show you how I do the head cement, I'll show you what I've got. This is just a little Wapsi applicator right here, and I've got UV resin in it. So I'm gonna put a drop, and on this size fly, it can be a pretty big drop. I will put it on and then kind of spread it around a little bit. Then take the stopper, or a small bodkin if you want, and then just spin it around and try to even out this resin over all these thread wraps. And one of the coolest things about this Regal Revolution, it's counterweighted, so you can spin it fast like that. I'll give it a quick spin, just even that glue out around it, and then put my light on it. And 10 or 15 seconds with the light, and you got a nice, hard, shiny gloss head. So that's it, everybody. The Brindle Bug. Very easy tie, pretty cool looking pattern. I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.